With the Nintendo Switch rapidly approaching the end of its lifespan and Nintendo's next home console right around the corner, I can't help but think about all the games we might be getting as a part of the next generation. I do think that it's pretty safe to assume that we're gonna get a new Mario and Zelda and Donkey Kong and Kirby and Metroid and Bayonetta and Yoshi and Mario Party and Smash Bros and Mario Kart and Mario Tennis and WarioWare and Xenoblade and Pokemon and maybe even a Kiss on the Lips. And while that's all well and good, I'm a greedy bitch and I want more. I've got a few ideas, pitches if you will, for games that I would like to see on the Nintendo Switch 2, and I am going to tell you all about them. Don't call it a hostage situation, call it a friendly conversation. Me too. Let's get started. F-Zero is kind of the obvious choice. Everyone is asking for a new F-Zero lately. It's kind of the big thing to ask for right now. First, it was a new Pokemon Snap, and then when that actually came out, nobody talked about it. Then everyone asked for a new Mario Strikers, and when that finally came out, nobody liked it. And now everyone is asking for a new F-Zero. I wonder how everyone will react if we actually get one. But I do actually want a new F-Zero. I fucking love this series. The original game on the Super Nintendo is one of my favorite games of all time, and even playing it for the first time in 2019, the Mode 7 graphics were mind-blowing. The soundtrack is incredible, and the gameplay held up better than basically any other racing game from that era. And then, in 2023, I finally got my hands on a copy of F-Zero X for the Nintendo 64, and it blew my mind all over again. Everything about the previous game is massively overhauled in F-Zero X. The races are all faster, the tracks are crazier, the soundtrack is bigger, the competition is fiercer. F-Zero X is everything I never knew I wanted from its predecessor, and it is quite possibly my favorite racing game of all time. And it's not even the latest game in the franchise. I've been seeing a lot of F-Zero X gameplay lately, and it looks like a massive upgrade from the N64 in terms of both gameplay and visuals. And seeing as I'll probably never get the chance to actually play it because it costs more money than I make in a year, I would really like to see how a game released on modern hardware with modernized gameplay, online multiplayer, and HD graphics builds upon what came before and once again proves that even perfection can always be improved. And while I do know that F-Zero 99 exists, let's be honest here, that's not really the same thing, and it's not really what I want. I want to see a talented dev team put their full creative might behind the track design and make some truly wild F-Zero courses. I want them to put some serious effort into really perfecting that feeling of intense speed, and I want them to push Nintendo's new console to its breaking point and create some truly jaw-dropping HD visuals. Damn it, I think I just want to spend $60 on Fast RMX. Okay, hear me out. I have a really dumb idea. Do you guys remember Rusty's Real Deal Baseball? Do you guys remember Game & Watch Gallery? What if they had a baby? Rusty's Real Deal Baseball was a free-to-start minigame compilation all about a dog who loves baseball and hates his bank account. The game features a series of unique baseball-inspired minigames that you purchase with real-world money directly from the 3DS eShop over the course of the game's story. You can either pay full price for each game or haggle with Rusty to buy them at a discount. Because nothing says I love supporting small businesses quite like bullying them into giving you a discount. Rusty's Real Deal Baseball was a really fun idea and such a Nintendo way to handle microtransactions. Old school Nintendo, not the shitty one from today that charges us for online. And I would love to see it make a comeback in some capacity. Oh, here's an idea! Game & Watch Gallery is a series of games that compile and remake old school Game & Watch games for hardware that people actually own. My idea is to create a game that combines the story and in-app purchases of Rusty's Real Deal Baseball with the Game & Watch games of Game & Watch Gallery. Much like in Real Deal Baseball, the player would start out with a free trial game, probably Ball. You can't go wrong with Ball, it's Ball. And then they would haggle with Rusty to lower the price of the rest of the games in the Game & Watch library over the course of the game's story. Rusty's Real Deal Game & Watch gallery could launch with 20 or 30 games, and Nintendo could add more every few months to keep the game alive and widen their profit margin. It's not like they're ever going to run out of Game & Watch games to port. There are so fucking many of these things. This would provide Nintendo with an easy way to re-release their Game & Watch games on modern hardware while simultaneously allowing players to pick and choose which games they want to play at a more reasonable price, rather than spending $60 on a compilation of games that they probably won't care about for very long. Nintendo Land is a great game that was ultimately held back by the system it was on and the time in which it was released. The game is a unique and creative minigame compilation with a heavy emphasis on celebrating Nintendo's history and showing off the Wii U gamepad. It was the Wii U's primary pack-in title, and much like Wii Sports and Wii Play, it was designed to show off the capabilities of Nintendo's newest console. So it's a damn shame that the Wii U didn't really have any. I'm sorry, that was really mean. I love you. Nintendo Land's biggest issue was easily its status as a pack-in and launch title. It was attempting to be this console's Wii Sports, but where Wii Sports showed off and celebrated the capabilities of the Wii's motion controls, Nintendo Land was more so trying to justify the Wii U's very existence. A task that not even a new mainline 3D Mario was able to pull off. On top of that, a good pack-in title needs to appeal to the widest audience possible in order to move the most units possible, and Nintendo Land only really appealed to the most die-hard Nintendo fans. Unfortunately for me, I am a die-hard Nintendo fan, and I fucking love Nintendo Land. The game had a lot of problems, but it also had a lot of great ideas. Modes like Mario Chase, Pikmin Adventure, and Luigi's Ghost Mansion are incredibly unique takes on asymmetric multiplayer, and I could honestly play any of them forever. The Zelda game and the Ninja game are both great solo experiences, and I could easily imagine more fleshed out versions being released as standalone titles on the Wii U eShop. The F-Zero mode is the closest we had gotten to a brand new F-Zero in a really long time, and it made great use of the Wii U gamepad's motion controls. And the other games, well, I'm sure somebody liked them. I was honestly very impressed by the sheer amount of new and creative ideas that Nintendo Land presented, and I would love to see more minigames in this style without the restrictions inherent to using the stupid fucking Mario iPad. I also think that the idea of a virtual Nintendo theme park is a really cool idea, and I would love to see a deeper and more fleshed out take on this concept. The only real issue that I foresee, surprisingly enough, is the lack of the Wii U gamepad. Nintendo Land's asymmetric multiplayer modes are all built entirely around the gamepad, and they're kind of the only way to make these kinds of games work in a local multiplayer setting. My solution is to just let people connect a second Nintendo Switch, or whatever the next console is called. It might be a bit inconvenient, but the infrastructure for this kind of thing is already there, and I honestly think that people will be willing to put up a lot if you just make the games good. Also, they could add additional minigames through free and paid DLC, or maybe even make the hub a free download and sell the games individually for $5 a pop. I don't really care what it takes, I just want a new Nintendo Land. I also want Nintendo to make a new rhythm game. Oh, so you want a new Rhythm Heaven? No. I mean, yes, of course I want Nintendo to make a new Rhythm Heaven. Everyone wants Nintendo to make a new Rhythm Heaven. That game is fucking awesome. It's such a fun and unique take on a genre full of fun and unique takes. It's a creative endeavor unlike anything I have ever seen. It's easily one of the best franchises in Nintendo's catalog, and it's also not what I'm talking about. I want Nintendo to take a proper swing at a more traditional rhythm game. Something more in line with Taiko or Project Diva or Guitar Hero with a PS3 controller. Nintendo has a very large library of iconic and beloved original music that will likely never receive traditional distribution in any meaningful capacity, and I think that a cute little 4-button rhythm game all about Nintendo music would be a lot of fun and a great way to have all of that music in one place. Or at least in one place that isn't fucking Smash Brothers. I mean, just imagine playing along to music from Mario, Zelda, Pokemon, Kirby, Donkey Kong, F-Zero, Splatoon, and Animal Crossing, each with their own original music videos for each game, or even a unique video for each individual song. And imagine how cool this game would be if it also included some third-party music from Nintendo-adjacent franchises like Sonic, Dragon Quest, Final Fantasy, or My Stop Smoking Coach. I think think that that would be a really cool and valuable rhythm game experience that would set itself apart from other rhythm game franchises by focusing on video game music instead of the far more traditional and mainstream song lists of a lot of other rhythm games. But they do need to make a new Rhythm Heaven first, because that's what everybody actually wants, and creating a brand new rhythm game franchise out of thin air while Rhythm Heaven rots in its grave is just gonna piss people off. Puzzle League, formerly known as Tetris Attack, formerly known as Panel de Pon, is one of my all-time favorite games, and apparently it's one of Nintendo's favorites too. From its inception on the Super Nintendo all the way up to the 3DS, Puzzle League has made an appearance on every single Nintendo system with no exceptions. Sometimes it was a new game, sometimes it was part of a compilation, sometimes it was a Japan exclusive, and sometimes it was a re-release of a fan favorite version. And it was awesome. Probably. Maybe. I don't know. I did not even know that this game existed until like 2 years ago. The series then skipped the Wii U before making its triumphant return as a part of the Nintendo Switch Online Retro Game Collection. And while it is great that we have basically always had access to the series in some capacity in every generation since its inception, we also haven't received a single new game since its final, and frankly underwhelming, DS release. I mean, unless you want to count the Animal Crossing minigame as a new release. But at that point, what don't you consider a new game? Hey, look everybody, they made a new Animal Crossing! I really want a new standalone title in this franchise, preferably with several unique skins based on beloved Nintendo properties and all of the side modes from the Nintendo 64's Pokemon Puzzle League. But I also understand that Nintendo probably doesn't see a lot of value in puzzle games these days. The majority of Nintendo's puzzle games haven't seen a new release in generations, and even the ones that did were relegated to low-cost eShop releases. It's pretty obvious that Nintendo doesn't think that people would be willing to pay full price for a simple puzzle game that isn't Tetris in an era where the perceived value of video games is often defined by their complexity and longevity. And I mean, they're probably not wrong, so I would like to offer a compromise. The Nintendo Switch's primary Tetris game, Tetris 99, is a free-to-play 99-player battle royale monetized through the use of DLC, in-app purchases, and its Nintendo Switch Online exclusivity. The game utilizes the Tetris series' versus mode mechanics as the foundation of the game's 99-player free-for-all gameplay, and it results in one of the most unique and engaging battle royales that I have ever played. And while it makes perfect sense to make Tetris the first puzzle game that uses this formula, I mean, it is the puzzle game, I can't be the only person who thinks it's a little crazy that Nintendo has yet to apply this formula to any of their own puzzle games. I mean, they have so many, and 3 of them are good. And although I understand that Dr. Mario is the obvious choice since it is Nintendo's primary puzzle game, I would much rather have Puzzle League 99. Or like, maybe Picross 99? That could be a little funny. And that's the majority of the more concrete ideas I have for new games. But I also think it would be really cool to get a new Pokken tournament, a new Punch-Out, a new Excite game, and a new Star Fox, but I don't really have any concrete ideas for any of those. And obviously, I want all of the current ongoing franchises to keep making appearances on future Nintendo systems, but that's probably gonna keep happening no matter what. But on the off chance that they do ever kill off something big like Zelda or Animal Crossing, rest assured I will be there to bitch about it.